Hello Yates County and beyond. Welcome back to another episode of Invasive Species Friday. Through this short weekly podcast, we at the Yates CCE hope to bring you information about the invasive species you may see around this county. We're getting pricked with this week's invasive, Japanese Barberry. This invasive is yet another ornamental that escaped cultivation. Originally from Japan, this barberry was introduced to the U.S. in 1875. Seeds were sent to the Arnold Arboretum in Boston, Massachusetts, from Russia. While this was the first intentional introduction, it's believed that the shrub could have been accidentally introduced before that. A Japanese barberry was also planted in the New York Botanic Garden in 1896. Eventually, it was promoted as the perfect plant to replace another invasive, the common barberry. The common or European barberry was originally brought over by European settlers and used for dyes, jams, and hedgerows. It was eventually discovered to be a host plant for black stem rust, a fungal disease for cereal crops like wheat. Because of the Japanese barberry's resistance to the disease, it became a popular alternative and was used widely for private landscaping from the early 1900s to the 1970s. This deciduous shrub can grow up to 8 feet tall. It has deeply grooved stems with thorns at the nodes. It tends to be a dense plant because of its multitude of twigs and branches and the clusters of leaves above each thorn. The cultivars come in purples, reds, and yellows, but the naturalized Japanese barberry plants usually have green leaves that turn bright red in the fall. They are less than an inch long and rounded at the end, with a long taper at the base like little spatulas. Around the middle of May, tiny yellowish flowers bloom, hanging below the stem, making them difficult to spot. These give way to oblong red berries that mature in late summer and hang on into the winter. Like last week's invasive burning bush, Japanese barberries spread primarily through its abundant seed production, which is readily distributed by birds. This barberry can also spread vegetatively through its roots and from its branches, whose tips root if they touch the ground. Japanese barberry has a unique ability to alter the pH and biological activity of the soil. It can survive in a much more acidic soil than plants normally like, from 7 all the way down to 3.7. This barberry can alter the pH over time to make it more acidic, which makes the area less hospitable to other plants. Even after the shrub is removed, the soil hinders the growth of the plants well into the future. It's toxic to deer, which means deer go after the surrounding plants. Removal of those plants opens the way for barberry to expand, especially if more sunlight reaches it. Japanese barberry is very shade tolerant, but explodes in full sun. It's also very tolerant of drought and isn't affected by extreme winters. This again allows the shrub to survive where other plants won't. If the competitive growing advantages weren't enough, there's a lot of evidence that areas with Japanese barberry have higher occurrences of black-legged ticks, which are a Lyme disease vector. There are many theories as to why, but it is believed that the shrub has a high evapotranspiration rate, meaning it creates the ideal humidity that ticks prefer. The barberry also provides excellent coverage for deer mice. These little mammals are a disease reservoir for Lyme disease, so higher concentrations of the animal mean a greater number of infected ticks and more danger to the public. So how do you get rid of this invasive? First, you're going to need gloves. The Japanese barberry may not have the 3-pronged spines like the Allegheny or European barberries, but the tips are finer than a hypodermic needle. If the points break off, it's really hard to get it out, and will take a long time to decompose under the skin. If you're wearing your proper protective equipment, smaller shrubs can be removed by pulling the plant out, either by hand or with the help of a hoe or mattock. It has relatively shallow roots, but make sure you get as many of them as possible to avoid resprouts. Only removing the top part will not kill the plant, so if you're going that route, you should combine it with an herbicide treatment. Foliar sprays are a great option because the Japanese barberry leaves out early in the spring and holds its leaves late into the fall. But there are cut stump and basil bark applications available as well. And with that, we reach the end of this week's episode of Invasive Species Friday. Next Friday, we're growing taller with a royal tree. Until then, we at the Yates CCE thank you for tuning in and supporting our fight against invasive species in Yates County.